Hello. I'll tell you about where we're at with the next stimulus package of $3.5 trillion. I'm going to talk to you about a raise in the SNAP food stamps program. I'm also going to tell you about a $2,000 recurring check, but it's not what you think, and you might be angered just like I was. I'll also talk to you about what's going on in Washington, D.C. and the unraveling events in Afghanistan. Hello and welcome to today's August 16th daily news report, as well as ongoing stimulus package information video. If you're a subscribed member of my community, then welcome back. And if you're not, consider subscribing right now so I can keep you up to date on what's going on in Washington, D.C., the U.S. economy, money, investing, and much, much more. A lot has happened over the weekend with Congress, the president, and Afghanistan. I'll talk more about those later in this video. Yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sent out a letter to party members suggesting that she has asked the House Rules Committee to weigh in on whether there is a rule that will allow her to immediately move on the physical infrastructure bill, as well as the $3.5 trillion stimulus package at the same time. This is called a procedural move in the House. Pelosi has to set up the rule that allows her to move on the Democrat-only bill as it moves from the Senate over to the House of Representatives. This made progressive Democrats in the House very happy because there is real concern that moderate Democrats won't go for the $3.5 trillion stimulus bill and will instead hold the stimulus package hostage until their $1.2 trillion physical infrastructure bill is completed. Now, when this first started, Pelosi and Schumer were confident that 100% of their party was on board with spending $4.7 trillion between the two bills. But at the same time, they have gone on to say that this is becoming more of an issue, this level of spending. Now, a group of moderate Democrats responded to Speaker Pelosi saying, "While we appreciate the forward procedural movement on the bipartisan infrastructure agreement, our view remains consistent. We should vote first on the bipartisan infrastructure framework without delay, and then move to immediate consideration of the budget resolution." So these moderates say that they will immediately begin working on and debating the $3.5 trillion stimulus package just as soon as they get the first one done. Now, this is not typical that bills get tied together like this, so the moderates aren't out in left field with their demand to pass one bill at a time. However, Representative Pramila Jayapal, who in the past has said the next stimulus package needs a $2,000 check and $1,000 recurring, she said, "How can these people call themselves moderate Democrats when they talk against childcare, paid leave, health care, and addressing climate change?" She said all Democrats must deliver on Biden's Democrat agenda. Representative Rashida Tlaib said the next stimulus package needs to be passed immediately, and her $40 billion for past utility bills needs to be included. Now, she has also called for a $2,000 check in the past, but now her focus seems to be on immigrants and utility bills. She had this to say: "No electricity, no water." So there is a real split in the House between the moderate Democrats and the progressive Democrats. However, in the Senate, you only have Senators Sinema and Manchin questioning the $3.5 trillion price tag and what's actually in the bill. But over in the House, you have nearly a dozen House representatives, and Pelosi can't afford to lose more than 5, or she can't pass the Democrat-only stimulus package or the physical infrastructure package. Now, this next part might make you angry, or maybe it's just me, but either way, I've not seen other people talk about this, and I wanted to bring this government information to your attention. Okay, now for a long time, I've seen $2,000 recurring checks as titles in YouTube videos. I've seen dozens of people in Congress say there needs to be recurring $2,000 checks. Well, they've finally done it, only it's not even close to what you think it is. While we had our eyes on the Senate and the distraction of Afghanistan, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi gave members of Congress a pay raise. Not your typical 2 to 3% annual raise. Most members of Congress earn $173,900 a year, or about 4 times as much the national average. Well, now, thanks to Nancy Pelosi, they will earn up to $199,300. That's a $25,400 a year raise before benefits, insurance, housing, food, and travel assistance in their budget. That's a 14.61% raise that the government just gave themselves. So, if you take $25,400 and you divide it by 12 months, that's $2,116.67 of additional money each and every month for Congress. So, while government leaders said that they could get you a $2,000 a month recurring check, they actually made sure to secure their own $2,000 a month recurring check first. Don't you just love the government these days? Now, Pelosi said, "Today, it is my privilege to announce an important new reform for our institution, raising the maximum annual pay rate for staff to $199,300. This order will help the Congress recruit and retain outstanding and diverse talent that we need, as it also helps ensure parity between employees of the House of Representatives and other employees of the federal government." And the government wonders why the people don't trust them. The government says they want to remind people what the government can do for them. Well, you can get them elected, and then they will give themselves a pay raise, while at the same time keeping very few of their promises. Now, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but when I saw this, I thought, good job, you got yourself $2,000 recurring checks. So I don't know if you saw this or not. Let me know in the comments, but I felt like I needed to bring it to your attention because even I missed it at first because so much is going on. So let me know in the comments, did you see that Nancy Pelosi gave members of Congress over $2,000 a month as a pay raise? Let me know. All right, it'll be interesting to see how many of the 80 plus that have called for a stimulus check reject their pay raise on behalf of the people. It will be interesting to see how many talk about a 14.61% raise while not being able to even improve minimum wage for the American people. Now, this doesn't mean you won't get help in the next stimulus package, so don't let that be your takeaway. It also doesn't mean that I don't believe you could get a stimulus check, but I would be a terrible source of news about Washington, D.C. if I didn't cover the areas of the government where they try to quietly pass things on the American people, and that's exactly what they did. All right, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments. All right, later today, I'm going to actually be calling several members of Congress. I'm just like fed up with the government at this point. All right, now regarding the child tax credit monthly checks, it looks like based on comments that the majority of you got your money last week. All right, now later today, President Biden will be addressing the nation regarding the Afghanistan situation. In case you weren't watching the news over the weekend, the Taliban took over the capital city of Kabul. The president of Afghanistan was helicoptered out and the city has fallen. The news is divided on this topic, but most seem to lean towards this being a crisis that will stain the reputation of President Biden. Now, according to the White House and the Pentagon, President Biden has now ordered 7,000 new troops to Afghanistan to help evacuate current military men and women, U.S. citizens, and many of the people of Afghanistan that helped the military over the past 20 years. The rest will be left behind. Sadly, the group has already begun to execute people, behead those that they capture, and the women and children are being gathered up for who knows what they want to do. Makes me sick to think about. Now, former President Trump has called for the disgraceful resignation of President Biden. He actually released several scathing press releases, but I'm not going to read through those. You guys can go find them if you want to, and if you don't have to either. But this is what's in the news. All right, now on the flip side, some news outlets are saying that this fall was inevitable and the U.S. had to walk away at some point. Some are saying we've done all we could and that this is not a military loss, but this is what an exit looks like. Some are saying that this is worse than the Saigon exit from Vietnam. Of course, most Republicans are jumping all over President Biden, while most Democrats are saying these are the consequences of war. Interestingly enough, Democrats that went to the Middle East or gave military service in the past are leaning towards this being a disaster. So there's a divide on how to present this in the media. So you'll have to decide for yourself what you think. Personally, I was horrified to watch the footage. My heart goes out to everybody that is afraid and scared and hiding right now. My heart especially goes out to the women and the children, as I have a wife and daughters that I would not want dealing with this. Now, most that are left behind are in hiding or at the airport where U.S. military is doing their best to guard them while airplanes come in and out. As of right now, the military message is secure the airport and get people out. You can go online and look. People are trying to block the airplanes. There's gunfire. People were even holding on to the wheel as the airplanes took off and fell to their death. It's just really, really horrific. Now, according to a CNN reporter, Taliban soldiers have surrounded the U.S. embassy in Kabul and are chanting "Death to America." Then the reporter said, it's weird because they seem nice. Like, who is this lady? By the way, the U.S. Embassy over in Afghanistan cost $700 million of taxpayer money to build. It will likely be taken before nightfall. All right, now regarding the SNAPS program, according to a press release I read this morning, the White House hopes to get even more people on food stamps and to increase the benefit from $121 per person up to $157 per person per month. That's a 30% increase in SNAP benefits. All right, now this should be a big week for new programs, updates, modifications, and removals of what will be in the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, and I'll be here to walk you through all of it, as well as keep you updated on what's going on in Washington, D.C. and with our government. Now, before you go, make sure to go sign up for the giveaway where we're giving away $10,000 in cash. 5 of you are going to win $1,000, and 20 of you will win $250 in cash. I'm super excited to give that money away, and I'll make sure to leave a link in the first pinned comment below. Now, before you go, I wish to remind you that you are amazing. You are amazing. You are